Welcome to our podcast. I'm Nicole.
I'm Tash IG.
And I guess we should start by what? What's the most exciting news?
Congratulations to our new president.
Woo!
Especially the first black woman vice president that we've ever had. Congratulations. Shout out to her.
Woohoo! Kamala Harris. If you guys have issues pronouncing it, I'm sure you can Google it. But either way, we're very excited. We are ending our year pretty much on a high. We've got at least one good day, because it's been pretty tough up until this point. So very excited about that. Quarantine has been terrible. I guess not necessarily quarantine, but COVID in general, right?
Pretty terrible. Before we even get into that, let's back up.
Rewind. Because
December 31st, 2019.
Last year, we thought 2020 was going to be the best year of our lives. We clinked our champagne glasses. We were like, best year ever. We're going to have boyfriends. We're going to celebrate New Year's with our man,
We're going to make a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. We're going to go into real estate.
Yeah. So many trips. That didn't age well.
Didn't happen. No. The only good trip was we went to your birthday right before quarantine happened. Technically during the month of March, it was already, COVID was already here. And we fortunately went to Vegas right before, had a great time, but came back to our lives in shambles. It was terrible. So,
that was the first week of March. And around that time, we were like, it's nothing serious, COVID, it's the flu.
Yeah.
So we didn't think anything of it. So we went to Vegas for my birthday. And what was it like the following week after everything shut down?
Literally the following week. And if COVID was already here, then we were definitely in the throng of everything because it was just so many people in Vegas at that time. But I'm glad we actually got to go on that trip because shortly after that, I remember being at my job and they're like, we're shutting this place down. And people didn't believe it at first, but we've both been working from home, have our own challenges from doing that. I think for me, it's a little bit more challenging now, or it was then. Now it's more manageable, but yeah, quarantine has been rough, but probably one of the roughest parts of it is dating during quarantine. It's been pretty terrible.
As if it wasn't rough already.
Yeah, it's been rough. Probably the past. When did we meet? It's been rough since 2016.
I would say before we met. For me personally, it's been rough.
Yeah, we're just coming from different experiences. Yeah. I'm divorced, and I was kind of with the same person from a super young age, and was literally in the beginning of my divorce when I met you. Yeah, and dating was pretty trash. So
I'm just single, never married, but. When you went on your first quarantine date, Nicole, what was that like?
I gotta think about my first quarantine date.
You might want to take a drink first.
I know, right? Give me just a moment. Drinking on camera is interesting. I'm trying to remember, if I know I went on a date after quarantine. I was talking to somebody in the beginning of the year, sort of, but that kind of went away, of course. And then my first quarantine date was at a park. We went on a trail. Mm-hmm. We went walking on a trail because you don't really want to you're just kind of scared of everything, and everything was shut down at that point too. So I didn't want to go to their house. I wasn't comfortable with that. Right. So it was interesting. It was kind of we went on a walk, came back, and he wanted to get something to eat, and I'm like. Where we went to a taco place, I believe, and ate. He seemed really cool, but came a nightmare shortly after. So there's that.
Was there a second date after that one, or it was just a one and done?
No, it wasn't one and done. I mean, with him, I was talking to other people at the time as well, but this person had been pursuing me since the previous year. And we should probably touch base on app dating or online dating or whatever, because terrible, especially for Black women. I live in Austin.
I live here in Houston.
Yeah. So Austin does not have a plethora of available men that I'm seeking anyway. So
at least not available Black men.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So and the pickings are slim. So it's you gotta just hope for the best. But yeah, quarantine dating, that experience taught me you can find someone that looks good on paper, but in real life is a whole asshole. So there's that.
A lot of people that look good on paper. and not in person. It doesn't work out. My first quarantine date was at a park too.
Oh, was it?
That's like the only place you could go when shit shut down for the first time. So I'd met him on a dating app. I think it was like Bumble or something like that. We met up at a park. Not a good idea in Texas because it was like 1,000 degrees outside when this happened. And then when I met up with him, he was like, yeah, so I just came back from New York. And at this time, New York was like Corona capital.
Yeah.
So I was kind of scared that after leaving this date, I was going to die, basically.
I'm surprised you even went on the date in the park in the first place because you're not like a woodsy type of person.
Because
You're
it was
like
the only
this.
option to go. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was drenched in cologne, and with it being 1,000 degrees
I remember
outside.
you told me that. Oh
like,
my God.
I was talking to him, and my eyes were like, the cologne was so like strong. So
Maybe he was funky.
yeah, long story short, I went home and blocked him. I was done. Like, quarantine dating was not good.
You
for me.
blocked him right after?
I blocked him right after.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't want to have to explain like, oh, I don't want to see you again because of this, that. I was I'm gonna just go ghost. You know, people do that these days. I'm gonna try it out and see how it works.
I'm trying to think. I mean, after that, I mean, that person that lasted for like a few months, but he was like an overall trash human being. So I mean, like, it was interesting. It was my first time really like actually opening myself to trying to date someone.
Right.
And it was a flop. But I mean, I think it was like, for me, he was really like judgmental about who I am. Like, he was a person from Africa. And he would have a lot of things to say. In my opinion, he was a bit elitist, and I didn't like a lot of that stuff. I remember I would tell you, like, bitch, let him go. Like, I just didn't like the things he would say. And after I would speak it out loud, I'd realize, like, what the fuck? I mean, of course, I wouldn't just sit there and let him say something. I would say something back, but I'm like, why am I still coming here? Right. I remember one time I texted you when I was at his house, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I just want to go home. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Did you go on any other quarantine dates after him?
I gotta think, because, girl, if I'm drawing a blank, you need to tell me that, because, listen, it's been a whirlwind. I remember him. Isn't that sad?
That's it.
I did. I went on, well, it was before quarantine, though, but, I mean, people were so weird. Like, you know, I went on a date right before quarantine happened, and the guy was, like, a weirdo. We went to, like, Applebee's. I don't have a problem with Applebee's at all, but...
They're still open?
Yeah, they were open. And he was so weird. Like, he had a knife, and he was, like, playing around with the knife, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I'm telling you, we have the worst dating stories. Like, he was flailing the knife around. He was being such a weirdo. He was being so loud. Like, the people across the bar were, like, involved in the conversation at this point. That's how loud he was. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to go. You know, like, I'm just going to head on out. You know, it's just...
So did you even get the check, or was it like...
Because I only got, like, a pretzel, because I really wasn't hungry. And I had a feeling it wasn't going to go.
You don't like somebody who only get a pretzel.
I only got a pretzel. And yeah, I ended up leaving, but he was just so weird. Like, it was very strange. And then we ended up, you know, I didn't. After that, I just kind of, like you said,
did he hit you up afterwards, or you just ghosted him?
He didn't hit me up until, remember, like, it was on Snapchat, and it was like at that point I was dating someone, and I think I posted about it, and he's like, oh, whatever happened with you and I, and I'm like, nigga, do you not remember the knife? Like. It was so weird. And then come to find out, he has kids. He was like, how are you and your kids? I'm like, doing well. So I said, how are you and your family? Because I wasn't aware that he had children, because he never mentioned that. He's like, oh, my son is this years old, and my daughter is like 1. And I'm like, 1.5. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have kids, plural? And he was like, yeah. I mean, I told you that. I'm like, you definitely didn't. I would remember if you had kids.
I remember that.
Yeah. So after your walk in the park, did you have any other quarantine dates? Oh,
I went on one more.
Who?
And
Not who.
We had met at like a Bourbon Street daiquiri. Like, people in Houston know where that place is.
Yeah.
So we met there in the parking lot.
But they were shooting dice? That parking lot? Go on.
Yes, that parking lot. And so we went and got a daiquiri or whatever, and then we sat in my car, which usually I would never do on a first meetup, but they wouldn't even let us sit inside. So we get in my car, we're just kind of like, okay. And it's weird because in quarantine, it's like none of us are doing anything except work, and that's it. So when you're like, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? Nothing. How about you? Nothing. Like, so the conversation was really dry.
Yeah.
That pretty much was the end of my quarantine dating experience. Yeah. After that, I was like, Nicole, I'm done. So I'll just wait until stuff somewhat goes back to normal.
You have to be creative with it because, but then again, it's like, who has time? Like, it's already depressing enough as it is. So like, and then you finally find someone that you think you vibe with, but it's like, now we have to like have parameters around dating. So, because you have to be careful, but then at a certain point you get to like, you know what, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm just going to try, you know, like my second, I guess, experience with actually dating someone, is, was actually a more positive experience, I guess, but we did have to be a little bit more open-minded because it was like things had already reopened at that point. So, you know, we could be with amongst other people, but there's something before him, but we went on like 2 dates. Let me see. We met up and then that was a pretty cool night. I thought he was a really cool guy. The second date we went to eat breakfast. We had a breakfast date, and then we went shopping together. And then I guess it never came up like what his maybe not even deal breakers, but what he was looking for, because I just assumed he was looking for what I was looking for, because I think he had asked me, but I never reciprocated for some reason. I thought maybe you would chime in, but he didn't. And then he goes, I was like, yeah, I'm just looking to, really, I'm looking for a boyfriend, looking to settle down. He was like, oh, like straight up told me. He was like, yeah, I'm not going to waste your time. I was like, God damn. Remember I wrote you about it.
Honest, because a couple people are not.
That's what you told me. You're like, well, Nicole at least is honest.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I wasn't even mad about it. I was like, okay. Because it sucks when we date someone and then after about 3 or 4 dates, you find out they're really only interested in one thing. Some people are upfront, and I like that. Some people are weasels, and they try to wait.
I never went on another quarantine date. I did have one guy that was like, do you want to like go for a nature walk through the woods?
You were like, no.
No, you fucking serial killer. Like,
I know. Like, it's hard because you want to trust people, but at the same time, we can't afford that.
No.
Like, I'm not going to the woods. No.
Quarantine or not, we're not taking a stroll through the woods.
No.
Like, I like my life.
Yeah.
So I want to.
And it's already hard enough. Like, I don't know here, but like in Austin, when I go on trails, like, I don't think anyone would hear me if I'm screaming. You know what I'm saying? So it's a no for me. I'm not going on a trail. And
no one would hear you, sis.
Yeah,
absolutely nobody.
No. I'm like, oh well, there's another one. And then they would harvest my organs. You know they do it to us, right?
No.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Conspiracy theory.
I'm telling you, they harvest our organs. That's why you see all these little missing black children.
That's scary, Nicole.
I don't want to know. They do. I'm telling you. They do. If y'all are listening to me, you know what I'm saying is real. Like, they are harvesting our organs, okay? Like, FYI. So jot that down.
So did you only have 2 quarantine dating experiences? Like, that was it for you as well?
I think so. I mean, besides that other guy in the middle, like nothing happened. I mean, not even a kiss, but I mean, he was straight up about what he wanted. And then the last person I went quarantine dating is the one that actually worked out the best, you know what I mean? But yeah, prior to that, like, quarantine dating and me haven't been the best. I know other friends who've done it and they didn't really care about quarantine rules. Like, they're going to people's houses, and I just can't afford that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too precious. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like the first like month of quarantine, it was actually kind of nice to like not do anything, not go anywhere. After that, it started getting like old, and I'm like, they need to open shit back up. I'm gonna lose my mind. And then quarantine radio, sore subject now.
Oh my God, I know.
Back then, before all this stuff came up,
lit. I
was
remember because we both work for different companies now. And I remember writing like, girl, this shit's getting me through my day. Like,
no, it really did. It got me through my day. And
now we're kind of like, no. Like, that's a whole controversial topic.
That was back in like March and April. That's so long ago.
It really was. But it's gone so fast. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think about it. My birthday's like next week, freaking December, Christmas, New Year's Eve. Like, This year has been terrible. Like it's
Yeah.
been one horrible thing after the other.
I think
and then,
terrible is an understatement. To be
Yeah,
honest.
devastating.
Yeah, devastating. We've
Like-
been in shambles all year. Like,
We really have. Like when we get into our other dating stories prior to quarantine, you guys are gonna be shook. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what about you though? I mean, but what about you dated even after quarantine, like or
Yeah.
after that one date? You know. You know what I'm saying?
I dated post quarantine. Well, I guess we say post because it's post here in Texas, but I guess people in other states are still quarantined.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with America, ghetto. But
Wouldn't recommend.
right, I date on dating apps a lot. I don't like dating people from work and stuff like that, and then meeting people out at a bar is just a disaster. So yeah, I've had dates post quarantine, but nothing that's like actually stick. Well, I guess I had that person I was seeing while in quarantine. That's a story for another day.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, because you know what? I think I admired your honesty during that time frame because you did have a few little options, but one person really, really liked you, but you kind of really liked another person. But I mean, you had every right to be reserved about that guy because like he had ghosted you before, and then he came back in your life, like confessing his love. Like,
so I guess I was talking to this guy like more long term while in quarantine. We were seeing each other for like maybe like almost 3 months.
yeah.
And to be honest, I was bored, guys. And I know that sounds like horrible, but
It doesn't.
he was cool, but I just didn't like him. Like I want to be in a relationship with him when shit opens back up. Like no, I still want to see other people. So I'd end up meeting this other guy, and I liked him a lot. Although that went down the flames quite fast. But yeah, long story short, me and the guy I was seeing in quarantine didn't work out. He wanted to be together, I didn't, so that ended, and I started seeing the other guy more regularly, but then he started showing some major red flags, so that didn't work out either.
Super major
It's
red
been a bad
flag.
year for me. I was telling Nicole I've been blocked like 3 times
Oh
this
my
year.
God, yes. I got blocked this year too. I had never been blocked. I didn't know how to like feel. Like I was like, what?
I went from never being blocked to being blocked like 3 times.
times.
Legit this year. Like,
Yeah. Like
don't
what? I was like, I don't even know what to do. And then I'm like, did you block me? And I mean, yeah, they blocked me, but I mean, that person was an idiot though. So, but yeah, he was. I remember telling you like, you never know, because I don't know, women always like tell each other bullshit basically. Clown university here, you know what I mean? Like from one clown to another. Let me tell you.
nah, the more y'all get to know us, like clown graduates,
Central. We have
Central.
PhD in clownery. Like, but no, for real, like, like, I would be like, Tashay, maybe you could like him, learn to like overcome that, and my dumb ass telling her like, maybe you should like give it a chance. But I'm like, but if you don't have that spark, then you can't force it, and. But I'm like, you don't want to, what if you lose this one and then the other person turns out to be terrible? But, I mean, it's all like trial and error, but it seems like we're having a lot of error. Yeah. Like, I'm over it.
I'm kind of proud of myself because I could have just kept him around out of being like lonely.
True. True.
But I was like, I do not like this person like at all, Nicole. Like,
why do we get to, that's the thing. Women are like that. We will let them go because like, a good woman, but we'll let them go because we know they're not for us.
Like,
we're wasting our time.
I'll let you move on to somebody else that likes you.
Correct. But men will not do that. They will waste our goddamn time, for centuries. And then you find out you're not what they're looking for. Or that's what they say. It's true. A man can date you for X amount of time and be this type of person, and then y'all break up, and then he becomes a better person for someone else. It's not always necessarily the woman, but sometimes we are complacent and allowing ourselves to be treated a certain way too. Yeah. So
no, it's definitely on us sometimes.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But a man will absolutely waste our time. Like that's, I think that's when God created him. Like, oh, waste your time. Like, pour some more. Like I've had my time wasted so many times. I'm over it, but I feel like quarantine has definitely opened our eyes a lot more to like loneliness and just like the possibilities of being, because it made us like face ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we had no choice but to take a look at ourselves.
There were some good things that came out of it. Like I feel like if quarantine didn't happen, we wouldn't have even started this podcast. Yeah. It kind of made you think about what you want in life and so many things you could do because you had all this time to just think.
True. And we've been talking about it for some time. We've been talking about it since last year. And I'm like, why didn't we just do it? Like, I don't understand. We should have done it. Yeah. But I know that we're super excited for this podcast. I know that we're going to also do an After Dark option as well, so we can get a little bit more. I mean, we look real classy. Yeah. Don't let it fool you, you know. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we have a lot of really cool things coming up too. So I'm super excited about that. And you know, this is our first episode.
This is our first, so
super
please,
awkward.
Yes, it might be about ghetto, but don't judge us. This is
oh
our
my
first
God,
episode ever.
We had our photo shoot yesterday. We were sweating. Like I was like, how do people do this in regular life? I can't do this. I was hot. My hair was like a fro, like a poof. Like
Nicole woke up this morning with the fro in the front and straight in the back.
It was like straight up. Like I was like, what is going on? And it wouldn't even like go down. I was so confused. But yeah, we went out last night. And it was very interesting, like going to, we went to camp.
Yes, we went to camp, we went to Uptown, one of my favorite places.
Yeah. I like Uptown because the vibe is cool. Like if you get there a little bit earlier, it's not as crazy and packed and stuff. And one thing about Tash and I is we will absolutely go home. Like we will go to sleep. Like we take naps for fun before we go out sometimes.
What's weird though is like, since quarantine has like ended for Texans anyways, we got there at like 8:30 and it was packed.
It really was. It was already like pretty much.
Like I don't know why that is now. Like you got to go out at 5 p.m. if you want a seat anywhere.
Especially here in Houston. Like I think when we went to 5015 that one time we went like around 5. Luckily we had seats and stuff, but if we would have went there like around 7, 8, it'd have been over with, you know. Yeah. And you can see that they're trying to make sure to, you know, section people off per quarantine rules, but it was.
I like the day drink, so I'm fine with that. I like to go out at like 1.
Clearly.
Get lit off mimosas, come home and pass out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like going out at night anymore, doing like club, like unless we're in Vegas, you know, then we can go all
Vegas,
night,
it's kind of like, I don't even know, but like Vegas makes you stay up. Like that's the only time we really have stayed up forever.
When I touch down in Vegas, like my alter ego comes out and like I'm Sasha, up like all night. Yeah.
Tash Fierce. Yeah, Vegas is interesting. The first time I went was the first time for your birthday, and then the second time was the last time for your birthday. So I liked it.
We got to tell like the story of the last time on like another podcast.
We'll do like crazy like birthday stories or travel stories or something like that. Like how I almost got in a fight in New Orleans. Oh, like, and you just sat there like. Yeah.
I don't know. We have a lot of stories for y'all.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna stay tuned to us.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Should we end it? I don't know. Okay. Well, thanks you guys so much for tuning into our first podcast. We're so excited, and hopefully you look forward to more episodes from us. And I think we did pretty good for our first episode. So yeah.
A little ghetto, but it's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
It's better than most.
How was our goal? It's done.